tell me, baby, what is wrong with you? Tell me, baby, what did I do? You better tell me, baby. Yeah, what's wrong with you? Oh, tell me, baby, what did I do? let your head go bald. Yeah, really don't have no feeling. Why you don't wing at all.
Hello everybody, back here at Redline after another excellent day of riding this fine 850 Roadster bobber. What a pleasure it is to ride this bike. It is so smooth, so secure, nimble, light, does everything exactly the way you would expect a motorcycle to do it. That seat is so comfortable. It's a Suzuki seat rubber. It's one of those bikes you don't want to stop riding. You're having such a good time. You're so comfy. It is so easy. You just want to keep going. Hate to sound like a broken record, but it's like being with a beautiful woman. You just never want to stop. I built this bike, finished it 5 years ago. This is all my painting. In-house here at Redline. I used to paint for a living. This is old school lacquer, hand striping. I built this bike as a make-work project. It has been built to be sold. That means it is first class. There's no second class anything about this bike. Everything is new that is supposed to be new, and this bike is immaculate. The gas tank on this bike has got no bondo, no putty. That gas tank is mint. When it comes to the world of steel Roadster gas tanks, this is mint. Oh, excuse me, there would be a touch of glaze here where I filled the back of the tank in, and where I cut it out here for the oil cap, a touch of glaze around here probably also, but this tank is no dents, mint. Roadster steel gas tank. So what is different about this and my other customs? This is all Norton. Other than the KZ side stand, which is an excellent side stand, this is all Norton. Fine carbon fiber muffler. All Norton where it counts. The fender here is a Triumph 650 from the 60s, steel fender. Beautiful example of what a motorcycle fender should look like. The nice lip on the front. The rear fender is an A65 Beezer fender. Another beautiful example of what a fender should look like. On the Beezer, you hardly see this thing. Look at the tip. Look at the tip on that. Beautiful, it's gorgeous. It flares out slightly. That is such a gorgeous fender. Now, this fender here is steel also. Quite a heavy gauge on the Beezer. And how I've mounted this is with the bolts underneath, which is what I do to all my fenders. This fender styling here is from a 1930s Norton. That's how they used to make the rear fender bracket. And that's kind of the styling I went after building this bike. So this fender is laminated. It is a double wall with a silicone sandwich, silicone rubber in between the two steel, the fender and the other piece of sheet metal. So it's a silicone sandwich, steel on either side of the silicone. Down here, can't quite see it, but same fender bolts are underneath, not on the top. Very clean. And the mud flap at the end here, very clean. So this is an 850 Norton electric start swing arm, rear disc, all stock Norton, rear hub, all stock Norton. Oh, you got your Triumph chain guard there, my favorite. but it's all stock Norton, mounted to the stock Norton swing arm. And this stuff is immaculate. Of course, the new rims and the new stainless spokes, polished and perfect. Carbon fiber muffler, super light, quiet. And we got our 50 style shocks with the covers. Very nice. Finned side covers. That's something I made here at Redline in-house. And those are all pieces of angle aluminum laid down on a piece of aluminum, and then on the back side they're aluminum soldered together with a Ladin 3-in-1 rod from Chicago, Illinois. Aluminu, I call it. Everyone should have aluminu. No flux, just heat. Clean aluminum. Boom, and you can build a side cover like that too. Yeah. Let's get back to that. Here's your chopped down Norton side plates, your Norton foot pegs, and of course your mint Norton transmission. Stainless steel air cleaner, front plate, shroud, and rear plate. Polished stainless. S-pipes. Yeah, and the Norton front end, of course, and the Norton front disc. That's a brand new disc. The rear disc is brand new also. Of course, we got our new stainless pistons in here, and the seals, of course, front and back, brand new. And of course, the wheel bearings and the spokes and the rim and the tire and the tube, brand new. This might as well be a brand new bike. Everything minted out. Stainless polished bolts or factory Norton, one or the other. And of course, my styling on the front end I've been using for almost 5 decades with your chrome triple trees, your black headlight brackets and black headlight, black sliders, 50s and 60s styling. This is old school lacquer on here, candy. You know how candy works out in the sun. Wow, gorgeous. Your Norton gauge holders polished. Norton Reservoir as usual. Oh, Harley lever again. So, there's the 2-into-1. And here's your Norton brake pedal with the safety spring. Factory cable, and that's attached to a Kawasaki Reservoir, I believe, which I have mounted under there. That would be another part that isn't Norton, but tolerable, as you'll see in a moment. Now this motor, this is actually a race bike you're looking at. This thing moves. I have a 4S Norville cam in this, which is about their mid-range cam. They've got them all the way up to 9s, I think, now. So 4 is just starting to get radical. 16 thou tappet clearance all the way around on this cam I'm running in this motor. Running my usual rear drain of the oil past the cam and lifters. So it's 100% of the oil that goes to the head goes past the cam and lifters, instead of the rear being peed and wasted into the timing cover and doing nothing. So this motor, the head, is modified. It's a single squish combustion chamber, D-shaped, Harley style, designed by Porsche. Single squish combustion chamber. This is an 850, 10 over, slipper pistons in this. Slipper pistons and all alloy forged rods on a standard Norton crank. The head is an 850 head, all standard valves, Kibble White stainless, Kibble White valve spring kit, which is genius, where they made the spring seats and the collars thinner. They raised the top retainer and made the valve springs larger. Excellent engineering, beautiful. So that, as the 4S cam operating, the 30 millimeter ports. It's 32 head because it's an 850. These are 30 millimeter ports that I took out here to match the head 32, tapered them down to 30 millimeter carbs. That's a good carb for overall performance. 32 is a waste of time on an amyl concentric. The last bit of carburation doesn't work. And it's the relationship of the port to the valve size. I prefer the 30 millimeter for good low end performance and good fuel mileage. And 32 millimeter carburetors wear out quicker because the slide actually should have been increased to a larger slide, but they didn't. 30 millimeters, squished combustion chambers, Norville 4S cam, slipper pistons. Look at the difference. Here's your stock 850. God, can you imagine lifting that up and down 6,000 times a minute compared to the slipper piston? Longer forged rods on a standard Norton crank. This motor moves. I'm going to put a rev limiter on here. These valves will clip if you valve float. So you got to behave yourself with this thing. This is not a race bike, but it sure goes good. It's a race bike up to 6,800 RPM. That way this bike will last longer than you. As long as you don't go nuts on this thing, you can't pop wheelies, you can't do burnouts. It's geared for the highway. The transmission is from a 500cc 1930s Norton. That's what these trannies are. They were stronger back then. They had a needle bearing in the sleeve gear. So if you were to ride this bike, you coddle it. Slowly off the line, because first I have the stronger, later lay shaft in here, brand new, a brand new main shaft, some new gears, and of course all the bushings and the bearings and seals and whatnot. Doesn't matter. A Norton tranny can be perfect. You can blow it in one day. If you go out trying to do burnouts, jackrabbit starts, or popping wheelies, or power shifting, no. When you shift this, you slip the clutch. You know your motorcycle, this motorcycle, and all motorcycles actually have two throttles. Here's the throttle that controls how fast the motor is going. This, known as a clutch lever, controls how fast the motorcycle itself is going. So the throttle, how fast the motor is turning. The clutch controls, this throttle here, how fast the bike is moving. So when you race a bike like this, for instance, off the line, you're going to bring it up to 6,000 RPM, slip the clutch out to the point of where the wheel just starts coming off the ground. And then you slip the clutch out all the way. You don't ever drop the clutch in this. You're going to blow the tranny. You get it? So if you behave yourself, this bike will last longer than you and longer than me. Just don't be an egotistical maniac and everything will be fine. Just enjoy the ride. And in the meantime, up to 6,800 RPM, some people will say, wow, that little thing really moves for an old Norton. And you betcha, buddy. You better have your super bike tuned up right. Besides, who wants to go 100 miles an hour? You get put in jail around here. Okay, so what else can I say? Let's pop off the tank and see, because this bike is going to be prepped for storage. Drain out the gas. Add the usual. Let's get to it. I've already loosened off the hardware. So I just pop this stuff off and we'll see what this oil tank in the frame looks like under here. Alrighty, the seat has two wing bolts. It only takes 1 minute to get this seat off normally. And it just simply slides out like that. Boom, underside of the chair here. And the tank. in real time. I already have the nuts off of here. Alrighty, let's see how the things are. Haven't been under here for a while. Well, it's last year maybe. Last time I rode it, the usual, take off the tank, drain out the gas, must do. Alrighty, let's check out this oil tank in the frame, see how it's hanging. Looks decent. Don't see any oil drooling off of anywhere. Look at that. Pretty sweet, man. One small little drop from the cap gasket, the usual on these oil caps. Imperfect devices. And your rear tank mount there. Now you can see this is a show finish on this bike in the sense of all the nuts and bolts. Here we have stainless, polished. We don't need the factory insignia. We like a little gleam here with the steam. Polished stainless works very nicely. Polished stainless here, of course, and what do we got? Chrome and polished stainless. Nice. Polished stainless in the carbs just to sweeten things up a little here and there. And there's that polished stainless air cleaner front and back plate. Comes that way, mirror finished stainless, made by Colin Kelly. Though the edge here comes raw, very nasty. Takes a long time to do that, Colin. You should step up and charge more. Anyway, look at under here. Here's the rear brake reservoir where the fluid is. Here's your battery box. Here's your cowl rear brake reservoir. So easy to work on. This is easier than a stock Norton. A stock Norton, you're bending over, looking up, creaking your neck. Where in the hell is what? Look at this. You pop the seat off here. Two simple wing bolts. There's your battery. There's your brakes. There's your air cleaner. Bam, 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 right in front of your face. And all your wiring. None of this, where is that going? And then that's all hidden behind this and that. Things are time consuming, but as far as difficult piece of metal work, here it is. And I'm not kidding. In all my life, this muffler bracket, this stainless muffler bracket you're looking at here, I did not want to put a strap, simple strap like my other bike, just a simple, like this bike here. I didn't want a simple strap because it was too close to the rubber grommets here. It would have been right there. And I wanted more support towards the middle of the pipe. So this is what I came up with, this design. Just laying that out in cardboard, because you see how it pinches up here. It gets welded to a channel, piece of channel stainless there, which is slotted for the bolts like a Dunstall muffler. And then on the bottom, yeah, it pinches up on the bottom with those three bolts. This bracket was so damn tricky to lay out in cardboard accurately and then transferring it to stainless steel and doing the polished stainless finish on it. Holy moly. This was the most difficult part, cutting that out in between there on a curve, slight compound bend thing going on. Tricky. Anyway, put some extra air in the tires. I already changed the oil before the film session. Someone's going to get a great bike. Someone's going to get a great friend for life. This inanimate object. The vintage British motorcycle. The new painting on your wall. To be enjoyed by all. Alrighty.